Yo guys, namaskaram. So today's video might be a little bit interesting because one of you had reached out to me stating that all of this is fine. In my previous video, I had talked about how you can say everyone can be a creative entrepreneur, but then the problem comes is more from a clarity perspective. That is how we can kind of gain an understanding or clarity in our life as to what it is that really needs our attention. Now, each person, each situation demands a different response. So, whatever situation you are in, I cannot give, let's say, a blanket judgment or a blanket statement that these are the type of things that you should do. But what I can give you is maybe certain principles that you can tweak as per your own unique situations and apply it in your own limited way. So, firstly, we need to go at the root of what it means to be clear or have clarity. You see, the environments that we live in, they are full of noise, and by noise here, I mean distractions. So, clarity simply means that in this whirlpool of distraction, you exactly know what you want to do or what is it that you want to invest your time and energy into. So basically, we are trying to filter out the real thing from the bullshit that exists. Now, how can we do that? There are a couple of things. One is trying to develop an understanding, the understanding of what is it that your life really wants. So I've seen this that things, whenever they go haywire, our first instinct is to add more and more things to our life. Let's say if we are going through a very tough time, the first thing that we'll do is add, let's say, an intoxication to numb out the pain. Maybe add a lot of conversations with our friends whom we really talk to, get a lot of opinions and perspectives. But the point is that the more we talk about our breakups and how someone has wronged us, the more we ruminate in that specific thing. Rumination basically means going in a cycle again and again, thinking the same thing again and again. But the most important thing is to just sit down in that situation and just reduce all of that noise, reduce the noise within, try to get a very deep understanding as to what is it that is suffering within, what is it that is causing me pain, as to why this person had left my life. So once we kind of start, let's say, getting an understanding as to what is it that really is important, I think clarity is then just a byproduct. It's like when the flower blooms, it just leaves its fragrance. So clarity is like the fragrance part, but the most important thing is working on developing your understanding, and that's a, you can say, maybe a lifelong process. But just to keep it practical, maybe whatever problem you have, whatever situations you have, try giving, let's say, a deadline of a week or maybe 48 hours, whatever suits you, trying to at least come up with a very basic understanding of the problems that you're going through. So I think that's what you can say a lot of communication is also about. That's what a lot of, you can say, quote unquote sales is also about. That they just want to clearly communicate in a very logical fashion that this is what would happen if you do this. So a similar sort of clarity should be manifested within you when you work more and more on your understanding. And don't force clarity. I think it should come naturally. Understanding is a byproduct of your curiosity. So when you genuinely follow your own unique curiosities, you will arrive at a point where you would just not to seek a lot of outside opinions and perspectives as to what you want to do with your life. The most important thing is just learning from people's experiences, the real experiences, and then developing an understanding as per your own situation. Now, this brings me to some more important things as to how we should treat uncertainty, that is, the uncertainty that exists within life in general. So, first things first, you're not supposed to feel very good. It's a very tiresome process. You're supposed to feel lost in all this clutter, maybe overwhelmed as well to some extent. But the most important thing is not giving in to the distractions that assault us. Whenever we want to change our life, it is not easy. So I think it's the nature of, let's say, the universe that it just tests you. Because let's say if you're just sitting still, going to your destruction is very, very easy. That's how nature has designed you. But going above, let's say, your core tendencies, trying to better yourself is a war against the tide. And that's something that comes with a lot of practice, your day-to-day practice. So in my previous videos, I talked about not being very comfortable, let's say, with an average life. I think that principle is the core hallmark, even if you're like chasing clarity or understanding, because you want to commit to a life of utmost excellence. You don't want a life which is assaulted by the daily mundane day to day problems and challenges of an ordinary person. I think the level of problems that we solve in life is directly proportional to the level of depth that we would have as a person. And the more depth you cultivate in your character and in your being, the more your potential blossoms in ways that are quite unique and authentic to you. I have seen this. The number one trait which I feel is very important to their success is they don't move here and there. If they know that this is what they want, they'll go at it no matter what the cost is. And they do that despite all those uncertainties, fears, doubts, anxieties. Maybe they're also fighting their fight mechanism within the body, but still they kind of embrace all of that and keep moving forward. Why? Because they have realized within their lives, maybe due to situations or maybe the cost of just staying the same, just being very mundane. So I think that kind of goes in all fields for that matter. You see, the people who kind of risk a lot of things in their life usually also kind of get those rewards. Now, another thing that is very important is whenever we are seeking clarity or trying to develop an understanding, we need to be obsessed about things that genuinely interest us. So, having a very intense attitude towards life. And how does that intensity come? When you start seeing distractions in your life, maybe some people are draining your energy, maybe some activities which are not so good are keeping your time or like sucking away your time. You need to cut all of that. And once you have free time, the human mind is such that the energy that you have, like each day, that limited energy, it needs to be invested in in specific pursuits. If you cut all distractions to somewhat level which you know are not good for you, automatically you will kind of invest that energy, because everyone has 24 hours. It's just that how we prioritize, or let's say invest that limited time that we have. So I think a practical application towards it is seeing which activities genuinely energize you, seeing activities which genuinely make you lose track of time. That's important. Which activities really make you very, you can say, curious. You don't need someone else to tell you that this is what you need to do. Some things just naturally come from within. So working from that center and then filtering out the noise in the world. And then I think this is a very, you can say, experimentative and a hard process. You need to be very compassionate towards your own self, uh, solving problems with very different types of solutions. It doesn't come in a day. Keep experimenting. A lot of solutions exist, but we need to find a solution that works uniquely to us. Maybe for some, a specific guru, a specific cult, says something and that is how it works for them. But maybe for another person, he just likes taking various reference point and then kind of coming at a conclusion for his own life. There's nothing wrong with any of these approaches. It's just that what is it that you're suited for? That's something that kind of comes with a lot of self experimentations on a lot of solutions. I think it's the same in, if I take a very practical example in weight loss, maybe for some person certain things work, for another person some other things work. So it's a very individual and nuanced process. And I think the final thing which I want to kind of end this video on is believe in your authenticity. That's how something unique would come out. You would not be a replica of the people who have lived before you and people who would come after you. When people say that this is how it should be, always have a very experimentative or a very dissecting attitude, having a lot of questions as to why is it that he's saying that or she's saying that, what is the center that he's coming from. So don't fear questions, don't fear asking a lot of questions, because questions are the gateway to truth. A lot of people fear questions, they just hide under the pretense of their pseudo picked up knowledge. But that is not how one should live life. One should find things that is coming from our own understanding and then try to live from that center. Anyhow, this is one video wherein I just wanted to talk about clarity and understanding in general. I think a lot of more deeper insights would come time and again. But of course, these videos are just, you can say, journal points, journal entries for myself as well. Let me know what you feel about it. And until then, this is Debashish Pindra from Debu Ki Dastak. Cheers. Bye.